Hello.
Yo, yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Creative Interest Meeting. Wait for a couple more people to hop on. We're going to give a couple more minutes, a couple people hopping on. Give me a little thumbs up if you can hear me. There we go. There we go.
Hey, Daniel. How's it going?
Great. How are you doing?
Doing good. Good to see you.
You too. I love that little clock you got back there. It's creative.
Thanks. That one is actually a mirror, but it's kind of a trippy angle from here.
That's awesome. That's so cool. We're going to give it one more minute and we'll get started. We're going to make this super quick. Whoa, your love. By the way, just a little bit of a tip. If you have pets, there's this thing called the Kong toy. What's up, John? Kong toy. You put some peanut butter in there. My dog is just chilling right now. It's amazing. Oh, wow. You're at Midlothian. I think you're muted if you're trying to talk. Okay, cool. We're going to wait. We're going to go ahead and get started in like one more minute. I'm going to give it one more minute. John, thanks for being here. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and we're going to get this started. First, got some icebreakers for you guys. And the first icebreaker is, how long have you been at Stonegate? So in the chat, if you can, type in how long you've been at Stonegate. What's up, Sydney? How long have you been at Stonegate? 9 years. Wow. Stonegate. 9 years, almost as long as the church has been alive. Since February, since January, a year this month. What's up, John? Brisno, we got another John. John saying 2. In the chat or in your camera, tell us how many years you've been at Stonegate.
For some reason, my video is not working. But
that's okay.
I've been at Stonegate, I think, about a year now. Yeah. Any other questions?
Well, we're about to get to a few. We're about to.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Next question. This is in the chat if you can. Here's the next question. What's one word you would use to describe yourself? One word. You have one word to describe yourself. What word are you going to use? It's very hard, but this is where creative happens. One word. Dedicated. I love that. Enthusiastic. Let's see. What's up, Christy? In the chat, we're describing ourselves using one word. What's one word you would use to describe yourself in the chat? It's just practicing a little bit of some creative.
Existential.
Hey, there you go. That's great.
That's his wife.
Existential.
Lively. Those are great. Those are great.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last thing, I'll let a couple more people, if we can get one or two more, I'll give you the last question. Then we'll get started. This is going to be super quick, guys. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know it's kind of late. But I know for different people it works depending on kids and all that stuff. All right, last question. What is the creative thing that you are interested in the most? What is the thing that you find that you're passionate about when it comes to the creative world? It could be anything. Calligraphy, okay. Photography.
Too.
That is a great. Oh, my dog ran out of peanut butter.
Oh no. on the fly, impromptu.
Design, storytelling, photography, graphic design, animation, photography, web design. Oh, web design. Okay. Those are so great. Cool. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, hey guys, thanks for just making some time to hop on. My name is Daniel. First name's Adam, but I go by Daniel because my dad's name's Adam. It gets confusing. So I've always gone by Daniel, except in high school when I was in like the weird figure out who I am phase. I wanted to show you guys real quick my little family. Share screen. Let's see here. Here we go. Share. This is my little fam. My wife, Kinsey. My dog, Charlie. We do life. It's super fun. We do all the fun things in terms of life. And I'm just going to give you all a little bit of my background. And then I'm going to walk through just kind of like what is the vision of a creative team at Stonegate. And then just give any sort of like a moment for any questions and clarity that you guys might need. So when it comes to who I am, my name is Daniel. I've been at Stonegate for 7 years. I graduated from DBU, which I know a lot of you have, almost a good chunk of you have some sort of experience or something at DBU. I graduated in 2016 with a business degree, which was really interesting because I went there for ministry degree, but felt like God was kind of leading me to the business thing. And then I actually ended up in ministry. So super great stuff. 3 years ago, I came on staff at Stonegate in the student ministry. And man, God did some fun and just really cool stuff. And in the start of 2020, obviously COVID hit, and God kind of like highlighted just some of the giftings I have when it comes to just communication, and which kind of led to what's now my new role as the communication director at Stonegate. And so I basically oversee anything that is brand, any message, any online thing, anything you see or hear from Stonegate, I'm going to have some sort of hand in and just making sure it's clear, it's concise, it's actually getting the ball down the court. It's not confusing. It's got a purpose and all that stuff. So one of my favorite parts of my job is actually getting to work with other ministries and getting them like on board. My dog's trying to eat my laptop. Sit. That's a good boy. So one of my favorite parts is working with other ministries and getting them like able to like build up what would be great communication for their ministry and things like that. So when it comes to the creative team, I'm kind of like, the communication department at Stonegate is brand new. And so when it comes to just thinking about the creative world, photography, design, videography, a lot of those things is actually not in my wheelhouse because I've been more in the like, I actually got my start in terms of just the creative world and social media. So I started, this is going to sound so goofy. My freshman year of college, I started this shout out account on Instagram and basically like found ways to like help others get followers, and they would pay money, and we would give them followers, and it was a total scam. But that started my like just hunch for social media, and which then led to the next kind of successful mark in my social media belt, which was an account called Reformed Thug Life. And Reformed Thug Life was basically just we highlighted bold, like preachers who were just bold about truth. And then we would kind of like correct those who were not being very truthful in what they said. And so that kind of took off. And then once I got to Stonegate, I kind of helped just start with the social media side of things. And social media is such a small piece to communication and creativity, but it is a piece. And one of my favorite things has been learning about all the other things. So I've actually gotten a good hand in design in the last 3 years. And we're working with like all kinds of different people in design, but design's become one of my favorite things to do. But all to say, when I think about just like Stonegate and the purpose of Stonegate, and the purpose of like ministers, which Ephesians 4 says, Charlie, Ephesians 4 says to equip the saints to do the work of the ministry. So when I think about my role, I'm like, man, it is not my job to be the creative one, because I can't be. I'm not that creative in some ways. And so more than anything, my heart is to find people who God has gifted creativity to and let them loose and let them do their thing. And what I mean by that is letting them use their creative gifts to inspire people to take next steps in their faith. There's a purpose behind our gifts, and our purpose in using our gifts, and this gets to what the purpose of this team is that I'm trying to build, is I want to see creatives use their gifts to inspire people to take next steps. When it comes to thinking about like each person, everyone's on a different journey on their faith. Everyone's on a different journey on what it looks like to enjoy Jesus and spend time with Jesus. And so if there's anything we want to do, though I love the creative things and like we can use all kinds of different creative outlets and different designs and stuff, my soul, like what I'm after is to use gifts to inspire those people. That's the main thing. And then how we get there, oh man, we're going to have fun figuring it out, trying to figure out what creative measures to get there, what type of photos to take, all that is going to be there. But when it comes to just what is the purpose of the creative team, it's to inspire people, inspire them. So how do we do that? Oh, thanks for asking. One of the main ways we're going to do that is through stories. And man, there are a ton of stories. About a month ago, I believe it was a month ago, we had a baptism Sunday. And one of the ladies, her name was Jamie, she was joining in online. She had found our church online. I think she had some relatives from Stonegate, but she lived in Michigan, but had been tuning in online for service, and she got saved. And then we flew her down and baptized her. It was one of the coolest things. Last week, we started this Who's Your One campaign. So like 2 days ago. And a 13-year-old, grace of God, Holy Spirit, praise God, it happened, was looking through the Who's Your One card, and his mom wrote his name down and started praying for him. He got saved that day. Like just so many cool things happening just at Stonegate. And obviously, sometimes it's hard, like when you're doing the creative thing, to know like, how is this making a difference? But gosh, when we use our gifts, and it is showing through the online service, it's showing online, it's showing through the design that's happening every day on social media. It's how we do our sermons. It's what our cards look like. It's the cards that are saying, hey, why don't you come to the women's event coming up in a couple of weeks and connect with some women? And a lady comes and she connects for the first time and actually feels like she has relationships and people to count on. There was a lady a couple days ago I was talking on the phone with. We called everyone in our church. Some of you probably got a call, and just checking in, and she was like, I feel so isolated. Nobody has reached out to me since March. And I was like, what the heck? Oh my gosh. And like, just my heart broke for her. And she came to church this Sunday for the first time in 8 months. And when I think about those stories, I'm like, man, what we do matters in inspiring people to take next steps. And next steps are all over the place on what that could look like for someone. But we just want to help them think about what would it look like for me to continue in my journey of following Jesus. So I sent a packet in an email to you guys. Some of you probably had a chance to look at it. If not, no worries. I just wanted to fly through a couple of things to highlight. I'm actually going to pull it up here. Let's see here. Share my screen. Well, I was going to share my screen. Here it is. Boom. Share screen. Zoom. I'm a Zoom newbie, I guess. All right, here we go. So I sent you guys this packet as the creative team playbook. And so basically this is like just jotting some thoughts down on what this looks like and just the basics. So this is not breaking down each team. I actually have a playbook for each team, like web, like what would it look like for a person who serves on the web design? What does it look like for a person who's in photography? What kind of shots are we looking for? That's like down the road. More than anything, I want to emphasize that when I think about the creative team, I think creatives typically find themselves in like the freelance mode, isolated, doing that my art, my way. And if there's anything I want to emphasize, it's, man, when it comes to creativity, I want a team to surround and together come around a purpose and say, man, this is what we're after together, and let's together go after it. I'm gonna go grab the photo. Will you edit it? And then, hey, will you use that photo for this social post on that day? And then the writer's like, hey, and I've got this perfect caption for it that'll actually help people. And so like a team who comes together and around a sole purpose of inspiring people, that's my hope. My hope isn't that there's one team carrying one weight, one team. Like there will be weights carried by each team, but that the teams would work together for a common good. So that's what the creative team is as from global. All right, so if you don't know this, this is who we are, Stonegate Church. Our mission is to enjoy Jesus and make disciples. Man, there is it's a call by God, man, to glorify him. And the way we glorify him is to enjoy him. We enjoy him by spending time with him, taking risks, living in community. And then we multiply. We embrace risk, we multiply. And so when I think about this team, every team at Stonegate has to be on mission. And our mission isn't to build our portfolio, though we're going to have some fun doing stuff like that. The mission is to, man, we want to see people enjoy Jesus and make disciples. The way that plays out and how we work on the team is through behaviors. And so these are behaviors that our church has laid out. It's like, man, this is just be really good for the people of Stonegate to live out. And so I'm gonna let you read that. I'm not gonna go over it today. I want to honor your time. I want to fly through this. I just want to get through a couple of things on this packet. This is all gold up here, the behaviors. So like I said, creative team exists to inspire people to take next steps. Man, we want to see that happen. And I want to have fun doing it. And I think the creative side of things, we can brainstorm, we can think creatively, we can see what's working, what's not working, what can we try differently. That's what's great about the creative world is things are constantly changing, and we can always work on like how to be better. More than anything, if there's something I've noticed in the church is it often feels like there's not a place, a healthy place for creatives to be themselves. And I would like my heart is to see creatives feel like they can belong and make a difference. And so when I think about a creative team, it's not like, hey, can you come shoot this day and this Sunday? And hey, can you make this design real quick? I'm going to assign it on a task board and just make sure it gets done. Like those things will happen. But man, more than anything, I want to get at what is the purpose of being a part of the church, and it's to belong to a family, to be a part of a community who's going after the mission to make disciples and to love God. And so ultimately, that's the hope. Creating things are going to happen, but first, I want us to have a community. I want us to feel like we have a place to belong. And so just a couple of things. When I think about just like how we create, right? I think about innovation. Man, we're going to be like pioneers. We're going to present in a fresh way. I'm not looking to like try to be somebody else or try to copy what other churches are doing, though I might look and study what they're doing. We want to think about what is a fresh, new way. How are we going to stay on top of what is going to help communicate the gospel to people? The second thing is integration. We want to use every platform we possibly can that is effective for what we're saying. So that doesn't mean we're using all platforms. It's just saying the ones that work for us, we want to use those platforms to reach the people that God has put, around us. So like, for example, our 3 social media platforms don't include Twitter. Like, though we have a Twitter account, it's like mega low. Nothing really happening there. No business. We're going to put our stock in Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. That's where our people are, and that's where we're reaching more people each week. And so we want to integrate other platforms, but the hope is not trying to stretch our resources, but to use our resources in places that it's effective. The third thing is involvement. Man, if there's one thing I want in a team culture, it's that we would champion what each other are doing. So the design crew is celebrating what the photographers are doing. Man, you guys are taking such great photos of Pastor Rodney when he's preaching, just the emotion that you're capturing, the moments with the kid worshiping, for the first time, or a mom who's crying and praying, those moments, like to celebrate those, or the web design people, it's like, God, wow, that's so awesome what you're doing. And you're getting the sermon up so that people can actually listen to the message, those who can't come because of COVID or whatever reason. And so when I think about championing what God is doing at Stonegate, man, I want the creative team to be the team that's leading out in that. And the hope in that is that we would set the culture for the other teams to do the same. And the last one's inspiration. Oh my gosh, we are going to tell story after story after story after story through email, through social, through video, through design, through whatever ways means necessary. We want to tell stories of what God is doing at Stonegate. So that's the vision for the creative team. Expectations, I'll fly through this. Number one, just the best kind of model so far, and this isn't like set in stone, but the best model so far is serve one, sit one. You serve a service, and then you sit in a service, and you get fed. Sometimes, depending on the role, that can change. The next thing is, man, we want you in community. None of us can pour out if we're not getting poured in. And so home group is a good thing to be a part of. And so if you're not a part of home group, let me know. I'd love to help get you in one. But the minimum attendance we encourage is once a month, that you would at least be going once a month to be part of the creative team. Next thing, because I so value people getting poured into before they pour out, I think that everyone, and I really want to work with people on this, that you would get 3 months off a year. So every year you serve, you have 3 months where you're not serving. And obviously, like, based on scheduling and availability, that basically plays out to about 12 weeks a year that you're kind of like, I'm not out, so it's either plays out in 12 weeks or 3 months, 1 month at a time or whatever. But ultimately it's like, man, I don't want anyone to feel burnt out or used or feel like they're having to pour out so much and they're thirsty. And so the hope behind that is for Sabbath to happen, for moments to get before God and to rest. Fourth thing, download, and this will be like, if you're interested, you want to join the team, this is kind of the expectations, that you would download the PCO Services app. That's how we'll schedule. Be available for special events. So, man, we have so many cool events happening around Stonegate. We just had a baptism service, and it was incredible. Our next one's December Eve, Christmas Eve. And we have just some exciting things in store for that night. And with this Who's Your One initiative, I'm praying that we baptize like 50 people on Christmas Eve, and that we get to capture that and inspire people who may be far from God to also take steps of faith to get baptized. 3 nights a year, we'll do some sort of team night, either a training or a dinner or a celebration. We know that like schedules are hard. And so we want to like figure out like what's the best way to do that. Team huddle. Everyone who is serving, because of the serve one, sit one, basically if you're serving in first service, you're sitting in second. If you're sitting in first service, you're serving in second. Our hope would be that our team huddle could be at 8:30 a.m. So you would get there at 8:30. We would give assignments. We would pray together as a team. And then the ones going to the 9 o'clock service would go to the service. The ones serving would serve at 9, and then they would flip. But we would have one moment as one collective team to pray together. And more than anything, that's just for team unity, that we can all look at each other and say, man, we're doing this together. We're not solos, but we're a team. And the last thing is feedback, man. We want to be a team that's improving and growing. You can't grow without feedback. And so feedback's our friend. We want to do that. There's a way to do that. We'll get to that. Other than that, the teams that I'm kind of just envisioning, and totally like this is not like a limited list. This is going to grow over time. This is just kind of like when I look at the needs right now, this is kind of where we're at. So photography, huge need. Videography, not as a huge need, but we would love to get to where we can use more, especially when we think about growing our reach on YouTube. Design, oh my gosh, man. Design is such a creative way to use your gifts in terms of both helping with social and just our sermon series. We're getting a little bit more of a habit of regular sermon series, and design plays a huge role in that and all the different ways that we do that. Social media, man, looking for people who are gifted at analyzing behaviors on social and be like, okay, how could we reach these people better? What posts are working? What posts aren't working? How can we reach people on social? Those kind of things. Church online, how can we make services better? Do we do some sort of intro announcement thing with a pastor or an outro after the sermon to capture and speak to our online people so that they don't feel isolated and feel like they're having to watch the service like Netflix? Online service hosts, people who are engaging with people who are watching online in the comments, in the chats, on all the different ways that are going on. By the way, there's a handful of people already doing this, and they've done such a great job. Web design, man, if there's anything that is like, this past weekend, I've got access to our web files, and there were so many people who had hopped online to our website before the service had even started, and they were just chilling on our website. And it just goes to show how much more active we need to be on our webpage and pointing people to watch a service, listen to a sermon, take a next step. And so that it's just, websites have always been a storage bin for most churches. And man, we don't want it to be a storage bin. We want it to be a place where active community is happening, where they feel like they can actively take steps of faith through whatever means necessary on the website. And the last thing is project managers. Now, this isn't necessarily a creative person. This is more like people who are task admin oriented, who can help get things done. We have a ton of projects that are going, like this past week, I think we sent 15 print projects to our print guy. And man, those take project managers, people to kind of keep up with the people that are designing it. We have a couple of designers that are outsourced. We have a couple of designers on staff. And it's just the project manager basically looks at a project. So for example, our election week project was a huge project. We had emails going out. We had videos being done. We had videos that had to be recorded. We had to upload it. We had to create copy. We had to get ready for the social posts and all that stuff. Oh boy. And so basically, we had to think about all those things. Well, a project manager would help get the ball down the court. They're not necessarily doing any of the projects. They're just helping get the ball down the court. Okay, enough of that. You can read that. It's going to be great. Last thing, man. I just want to say what the creative team is not. And then I just want to make the ask. The creative team is not a collection of freelancers. It's not a place for you to impose like what you want to do. Ultimately, like, the goal is to be a team who's after a purpose, and that purpose is to see people love Jesus and enjoy Jesus. And so when we think about what we're after, that is the thing. It's one goal. We want to see you, and I would say we want to see you grow. And like, I don't want you to hear that like we are looking for like people to just serve and then leave. Like, I actually want to be someone who can be a resource. Oh, you want to grow in this gift? Here's a ton of resources that I have or someone else has that you can use to grow. Like, my job is to equip the creatives in our church. And so I want to do that. But in doing that, I want to do it in a team way, whereas a team, we're after a collective goal and purpose, which is to see the mission of Stonegate move forward, which is actually, I believe, the mission of God, to see disciples made. Here's a couple more things that is not, the creative team is not. The creative team is not a place of perfection. I love excellence. It's okay to do 90% sometimes. You don't have to do 100%. Today, I had to say, hey, we don't have to do 100% on this project. It's okay to do 90% so that you're not killing yourself and you can go home and rest. If you're staying up till midnight to work on a handout card that's going to last one Sunday, I'm like, dude, Go home and spend time with your family. That means more. And so we don't expect perfection. We expect faithfulness. Man, that you be faithful to do and steward what God's gifted you to be able to do. Last thing, let's see here. Yeah, ultimately, I just want to see you grow as a Christian, grow in stewardship. And I want to take just the next few minutes. Sorry, I have a free Zoom version, and to get any questions. But before I do that, I just want to say this, and I don't want you to feel like you have to respond right now. I'll send an email. But the ask is this, that you would consider serving on the creative team in some form or capacity, whether that be as an online host, a photographer, a designer, in some form or fashion, to serve together for collective purpose to see our people inspired to take next steps. So that's all I have. There's so much more I could explain, but I want to honor your time and I want to get to some questions. So if you have any questions, why don't you go ahead and throw it in the chat, or you can hop on here, whichever's quicker. We have 7 minutes. So any questions, anything that you were looking for clarity, any questions? Anybody got anything? I see Go Pats. I couldn't see the packet. I will resend it. I think it was too big of a file. So I'll resend it as a different file. Any other questions?
It's a Pages extension. Do you have a Windows version? Because Pages, I believe, is Apple.
Yes, I will. I'll do a PDF version so that it should work. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't have, I mean, I do have an Apple computer, but I normally use a Windows.
Sure thing. I'll make sure to do that. I'll make a note of that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
When does this start?
I would love to start as soon as possible. Everything you've seen has been between me and someone else she actually is in home group right now, so she couldn't make it. There's a couple other people a part of the creative team at Stonegate. It's me, Abby Munoz, and Anthony Austin. So Abby Munoz, she basically handles a lot of the design and some project managing. And Anthony Austin, he kind of carries the video weight. So everything you've seen so far has happened between the three of us. And there have been some people kind of popping in. Like I said, our online hosts have already started. But yeah, I'm in on, if you're in, then we'll start. Start date is now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Obviously with some training and onboarding and all that stuff, but.
Yeah. I have a question. So I'm a college student and stuff like that. I'm actually graduating this semester.
Okay.
From DBU and stuff like that in a bachelor's of graphic design and stuff. So like, I don't know how long I have to be able to help and serve, because like just the situation and stuff like that. And I would like to continue. But yeah, I just want to make you note of that, like my situation, but I would love to help and stuff.
So you graduate in December or May?
December. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we can work with that, bro. Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, bro.
So what is the need as far as like time commitment? And I'm sure each role or team, you know, however that looks, may be a little different. But just initial thoughts on that.
Yeah. So this has been the hardest thing. I've talked to a handful of churches and no church has figured this out. And if I'm being super vulnerable and honest with you guys, there's not a single church that actually has a creative team that does it well. And I'm not going to bash any church's names, but there are massive churches out there that had 200 volunteers and then now have 4. And if there's anything that I care more about, is that I care more about you guys and your growth and your spiritual health than I do your giftings. And I want you to hear that and believe that. I care more about you than what you can do. So I want to say that first. Second thing, that goes into like, I didn't ever get a good answer from churches who've tried to figure out how to schedule creatives. The thing I'm thinking right now, and it's penciled in, it's not a pen like Sharpie, is the majority of the work would happen, at least design wise and video editing wise, in the second service. The reason for that is because we don't have any content really to do anything with in the first service because it's being preached, Now we do get like Pastor Rodney's sermon beforehand, and we can like start working on quotes and stuff like that. But my hope is either one, my hope is to think about like what service are you in, and then the opposite service you serve. And so the hope is like you would serve every Sunday in one of the services and you would sit in the other service. And then 3 months out of the year, so 12 weeks total, you wouldn't serve. And the hope behind that, and my hope in that would be like 1 month off, you would serve a few months, 1 month off, you would serve a few months, 1 month off. That's kind of how I would picture it happening, so that you can receive and not have to worry about being there. And then the rest of that time you're serving, and then you're sitting in a service. So you're kind of there for both times. Again, we can work out the details. I know everyone's got different things going on. So I've got to hurry with this answer. So basically, the thing I've been thinking about is 9 o'clock to 11. Photographers are kind of really hitting that hard. And then the rest of the creative team is kind of hitting the second service. But I also live, there's a guy out there, he's not a Christian. His name's Gary Vee. He always talks about creating content. So I do want to always create content when necessary. Even if we don't necessarily know the service, we can know like, oh, hey, let's build posts on suffering. Let's build posts on people who are dealing with their marriage. So we can always be creating. So, hey, these have been really great questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me. I'm going to email you right now. And I just want to ask you to consider one more time, will you be a part of this creative team? Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for spending the 30 minutes. I'll send you that email. I'll send you the PDF. And any questions you have, just respond back. And I'm actually going to text or call each one of you, just see where you're at and what questions you have. Does that sound good? Awesome. Thank you guys so much. You'll be getting an email here in a few minutes.
Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Yeah.